The Houston Rockets are on the verge of making one of the biggest trades in NBA history, but it would come at a huge cost. As we give you the details of the latest report of what would be the package for a guy like Giannis Antetokounmpo to land here in Houston and play with Kevin Durant, making for one of the deadliest combinations in the NBA. We give you those details right here on Rockets Digest. Hello, everybody. I am your host, Donovan Ricondo, and we appreciate you joining us as always. And if you have not done so already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button below if you want to stay in the loop of all things Houston Rockets. So far, 72.2% of you watching these videos are not yet subscribed. So what are you waiting for? Go ahead, hit that button below. But for today's topic, we are talking about Giannis Antetokounmpo, and there is a lot going on right now in terms of him. There was a lot in the offseason about a potential trade, and Houston was one of those teams that was name dropped a bunch of times and landing the NBA champion. But we're going to get to every single Giannis update we have at the moment. He is an absolute stud, one of the best players in the NBA, top 3, top 5, wherever you have him. He is up there in terms of just being an absolute dominant player out there on the court. And now trade speculation around the Milwaukee Bucks and him started just the other day as it intensified on Thursday, today, as multiple teams across the league has now begun circling a date, and that date is December 15th as a potential pivot point for formal trade discussions. And the reason why December 15th is the date that a lot of teams have circled is that date marks when players who signed contracts this past offseason become eligible to be moved, opening the door for a wider range of possible trade packages, a la Giannis Antetokounmpo and the Houston Rockets. And expanding on this, according to ESPN's Jamal Collier, several front offices are preparing to evaluate and assemble scenarios centered on Antetokounmpo, monitoring the Bucks closely as the franchise is navigating some uncertainty both on the court and off the court. And the Milwaukee Bucks have had themselves a weird season, right? Antetokounmpo missed 4 games last month, and they've been trying to see if this team is even solid without Giannis out there on the court. And if that doesn't seem to be the case, then a trade just kind of seems more likely for the Bucks to get something out of what is supposed to be, a season that's not going to go very well for them in the long run. And so that is the key thing to look out for in terms of these teams and why Milwaukee would want to do this trade in the first place. Why would they would want to trade away their best player and one of the best players in NBA history? And one thing to keep in mind, this is a direct quote from this article, one thing to keep in mind is that Antetokounmpo is eligible to sign a 4-year, $275 million extension with Milwaukee or a team he is traded to starting on October 1st of 2026. So, what does that mean? That means that a team trading for Antetokounmpo will need to have confidence that an extension is likely to happen before giving up significant players or draft picks. If there's no extension, Antetokounmpo will likely become a free agent in the 2027 offseason, 2 years down the road. And so that is the key thing about a potential trade. Antetokounmpo coming to Houston or any other team for that matter is like, are you going to re-sign with us when your contract is done in 2026? That is going to be the key question. And of course, Giannis probably has a lot of say in who he's going to get traded to in the first place, right? He had a list of teams that he was interested in. And so that is going to be key in all of this. But in the latest update of this entire saga, just last night, Antetokounmpo had a bit of an injury, as now he is going to be out for 2 to 4 weeks with a calf strain. And that's a little bit past the December 15th date that I just talked about. So are teams going to, push back this date? Are they still going to try to come up with a package and propose that on the 15th and have him traded while he's hurt? There's a lot of things to consider. Last night was such a curveball in this entire saga, but nevertheless, he is going to be out for 2 to 4 weeks. It was yesterday against the Pistons. He had to be helped off the court by some teammates and walked gingerly to the bench before heading into the locker room. It was a non-contact injury 3 minutes into that first quarter, no lower right leg. And so that is the latest development in terms of Giannis. Now, in terms of a trade, and this is where I'm going to, just kind of state my case as to why I think the Rockets should not make this trade. This is the trade package for Giannis. Houston would receive Giannis Antetokounmpo and his brother Thanasis, who honestly, Thanasis, that's the steal, right? That's why we actually trade for Thanasis. Now, you got to have some guy. You got to have somebody like Thanasis on your team. Just putting that out there. The Rockets would get the Antetokounmpo brothers, and the Bucks in return would get Alperen Şengün, best player on the team, and Fred VanVleet, currently hurt, but is expected to make a return next season, and also a 2027 first-round pick, unprotected via the Phoenix Suns. And there's been a lot of pull back and forth in terms of this deal. Personally, I think we should do whatever we can to make sure that Alperen Şengün plays his entire career in Houston. That is where I'm at with our team. That's how much I put into the value of Alperen Şengün. I want Alperen Şengün to be our guy. I want him to be the guy who's going to, one of the few guys like our Dirk Nowitzki, right, or our Kobe Bryant, stick on one team for pretty much their entire career. I think Alperen Şengün is that good. I think he is someone who wants to be in Houston. We've embraced him with open arms. He's embraced us with open arms. That is our guy. I understand on the flip side of that, right? To get Giannis and to get Thanasis for kind of, only 3 items here is also kind of a steal. But at the same time, I put so much value in Alperen Şengün as a basketball player. Just this year, if you've just been watching him play, he is just improving beyond what many thought he can do. I mean, yes, he was always thought to be a very, very good basketball player, but what he's doing out there on the court is absolutely astounding. And I do think having him kind of like in a Jokic role, very similar to Giannis in terms of, power and being able to post up and move down low on the block. But there's just something about Alperen that just screams Houston to me. That's something that says that he belongs here in Houston, and we should not trade. We already traded Jalen Green, another guy who was supposed to be, this big Houston mainstay, or this guy we were going to, the guy of the future, right? He's already gone. I do believe you have to grow your own talent. Alperen Şengün has been growing here in Houston, and I would like for that to stay the case. I want him to win his championships in Houston. I want Houston to win that championship, and preferably with Alperen Şengün. I mean, anybody can tell you that he is a guy that can go out there and play in a way that's going to win you a championship. Now, you can say, oh, Giannis has already done that. He has proven that he can do that, and that's all good case in point. What I bring it all down to is the culture you've built for this team, who you've surrounded around Alperen, who you've surrounded with, Kevin Durant. I think it works. It's working right now, right? The Rockets don't even have to make a move, and they are still in contention for a championship. They are still in contention. They are a great team right now in the Western Conference. I believe they're the 3rd seed as of right now. They're where they're supposed to be, and I do think as the season plays out, we're all going to realize that this team will be fine. This team can compete for a championship. Realistically, I don't say that with a bias. I don't say that just out of optimism. This team can compete for a championship because right now they are playing fantastic and they're not even at full health. Dorian Finney-Smith has not played a game for the Rockets this season. Tari Eason is out for a little while. This team is not yet close to being at their Fred VanVleet out the entire year. This team is not even at its full power. But this team is working right now, and I don't think having to sacrifice guys like Fred, Alperen, and the 2027 first-round pick, which you're probably going to get rid of anyways, considering how good your team already is. But at the same time, I don't think it's fully worth it. Yes, Giannis is a great player. Yes, Giannis is one of the best players in the NBA. But I just don't think if you're Rafael Stone, you go out and commit to this trade. I just don't think that is the right move for these guys, for this team. Now, the Rockets, they've been great, right? 13-5 record, number 2 offense, number 3 defense in the league. I mean, yes, you can get better with a guy like Giannis, but that's not always a for sure thing. It's working all right now. All of it is working. For all of Şengün's many strengths, his efficiency is still only average, yes, and Antetokounmpo's is one of the most efficient, highest usage scorers. This is the case of why you trade for Giannis. But at the same time, Alperen's only going to get better. Giannis is only going to get older. I do think in the long run, having Şengün and having him stay here in Houston is the ultimate benefactor in this potential trade. Now, for Milwaukee, in terms of why Milwaukee would want a guy like Şengün, I mean, it doesn't take a lot of convincing. I mean, Şengün represents the best player it could realistically acquire in a trade, a 23-year-old offensive center who should make his second All-Star team this season. And so, if you just watch Alperen play, you would know any team would be lucky to have a guy like him. And remember, any team will be lucky to have a guy like him. And the Rockets have that guy. They have him on the team already. That is Alperen Şengün. And so ultimately, there's going to be a lot of teams vying for this trade, right? There's going to be a lot of people saying that Giannis, it has to be on their team. Milwaukee is going kind of down in the gutter. But I want you to let me know what you think the Rockets should do. Do you think they should go out and trade for Giannis in exchange for a guy like Alperen Şengün? Or do you think, like me, that should not be the case? That the Rockets should stick to their guys, stick to their 23-year-old who has, one of the best futures of all the young players in the NBA. Should they stick by Alperen or should they trade? I'm very curious to know what you guys think, what the Houston Rockets are going to do with that. Still, that's 11 days away from that target date of December 15th. Giannis is out for a while, but we're all going to get to that point very, very soon. And for all those updates regarding all that, regarding the Rockets, regarding Giannis, all going to be right here on Rockets Digest. So if you want to go ahead and subscribe and stay up to date, that now is the time to do so. But let me know down in the comments what you guys think the Rockets should do. Should you take the trade or should you not? I'm your host, Donovan Ricondo. We'll see you on the next one. Adios.